Come on now. There we are. Okay, now it's working. Right, right. Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, November the 3rd, 2025, and welcome to the podcast that features lots of gravity. There's stuff back there. Anyway, I hope you're all having a fantastic and swimming day. Checking the audio levels, everything looks good. It's Monday, and it's the first official Monday after the first official 2025 daylight standard time going back into place. How you feeling? I hope well. I do. I truly do. Oh, what all we're going to talk about? A lot of stuff. If you saw in the description and the notes and all that. Doing water this morning instead of coffee. Why? Because I forgot to do it before I drank my coffee this morning. Stay hydrated, kids. But yeah, so again, we're into episode 4 of the podcast as this new habit and system and strategy comes into play for Amp Multimedia and me, to where I get to connect with all of you again and hopefully provide some information and stuff that can be beneficial to you and yours, be it your business or your civic organization or just your hobbies or life in general. Again, I'm not by any stretch desiring to be an end-all be-all know-all person. I just want us to connect again because, again, for this past year where I've really been encouraging folks to embrace the spark, embrace your spark. And what that means is, for me, enhancing organic creativity and connection in the age of AI and social media. Because I tell you, a lot of things that I have observed over the past 12 months, well, we can say it was 12 months. It's been a full year of things. And just seeing how we all collectively act together and the things that make us not act like good people. Main thing being things inside of the little boxes that we all carry. And because we'll get to that actually. Let's see. Now where we want to start. One of the things again in this podcast thing and getting into the new of how things work and do is it's funny because I'm kind of like breaking an old bad habit of mine that everything had to be completely regimented, right? And in the days of traditional broadcasting, you do need to do that because you're fighting the clock constantly. I'm not really fighting a clock here. I could go for 5 minutes or 5 hours. Don't think anybody would want to do that or watch that long, but I got to break the habit of being a slave to the clock, but still respect your time and my time because that's important. But finding the message. Well, what is the underlying message of what I'm going for here? The underlying message, I believe, as I was putting together my notes this morning, is that we've got to break up the nihilism because that seems to be kind of a big thing because the nihilism leads to apathy or lack of empathy and a lack of compassion and care with people who normally do. But everybody's tired. I mean, let's get real. It's like it's a mentally draining time with, again, a lot of the input that we get. And it's difficult to stay unplugged just because, again, these are our communication devices to talk to those that we actually want to talk to. But then a lot of other people get crammed in there and on us. And we get caught up in the soap opera of reality, right? So I don't know. I want to do my part in trying to help break that up a little bit and have some fun. So I'm kind of over explaining this morning, but it's Monday. I got an extra hour to think about things, right? Extra. Hydrate, kids. It's important. All right. So taking a look what else is going on. Big, if you noticed on my Facebook feed, you'll see a photoshopped image of Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert and author of some very great books, which of course I'll go in more towards the end of the show when we do that part. And this is the second edition of Win Bigly, and this book is fantastic. It is, he wrote the first version, I believe it was 2016. This is the second edition, available now on Amazon. And I highly recommend it because now while you see Dogbird on there cosplaying as Trump, there's a reason for that. Because regardless of your take politically, you can learn a lot from people who are doing things in a big way. And Trump has done things in a big way. And Scott really dives into, and one of the things that got him, he was one of the first commentators on the, we'll call the bigger stage, to call it like right out the box that Trump was going to win back in 2016. Now, why? Now, I know if you're wanting to go political on this, you're wrong. Just sit back and shush, okay? The main reason was that his persuasion skills, as Scott was seeing it, and also, again, with all of his other things that he does, he's also a trained hypnotist. But one of the things when it comes to persuasion is Trump is just a master. Where you could say that he is lying about something, it's not so much lying, it is over exaggeration, but it's with intent and purpose. To say that you're going to end all wars and you only come out with 8 out of 9 of those things done, well, that's still pretty good, right? And you establish that you're going for the gusto. So it's like the power of positive thinking on steroids. Um, I don't know. There's a lot to learn in that. So we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. And also, where's Scott Adams? And a reason that he's coming up in the conversation today with me is yesterday he had posted he has prostate cancer that's actually metastasized into all over. And so it's really not looking good for Scott. And things have, some treatments that he had done were working, but then quit working. And now it's just getting worse. And the biggest thing for him is the pain level. There was another drug that was available that he was testing for, looked like things are going well, but then his insurance people screwed up. And as such, it's really not a complicated story, and it's not something that you shouldn't pay attention to because, oh, it's just that guy. Oh, it's a celebrity. Oh, he's wealthy and rich. Yeah, okay, sure, fine, but that's not the point. The point is that inside of the insurance system that you and I are all using, no matter who your provider is, things are wonky and out of whack. Anyway, he's been doing a morning show for the past 10 years via the various platforms out there from YouTube and Rumble and X. Not Facebook because, well, Facebook is just, I don't want to do it here, but here's where we are right now. And then also his locals platform. And so, or his space on the locals platform. But he couldn't do yesterday. Pain was too intense. He had to go to the ER to see what they could do. In that process, he also put out, we'll call it a tweet on X as far as, you know, yeah, it's like Trump at one point after Scott Adams was invited to the White House to meet the president because, again, his calling of Trump winning in 2016 was pretty unprecedented. It led to him getting canceled inside of all of that. Very much unwarranted, which all that cancellation nonsense is stupid. But anyway, Trump had told him at that time, if you need anything, just let me know. And so yesterday, Scott posted, yeah, I need it right now. Let's push the button to get some things approved and taken care of. And thanks to the X platform, the connections were made. And so something's happening. And today it looks like Scott's going to be able to get this new treatment. And I'll keep you updated on that. It's a fascinating story and also really interesting glimpse in the world we live and the way people can connect. And that's not just for that celebrity class. I mean, you have the opportunity, folks. I think about it. You're already on a social platform that is a microphone that takes you all the way around the world and then back to you. That's huge. I mean, it really is. So use it again. And in some ways, I can help you with that as far as that goes. And we'll talk about that too. As we go. But we're back and we're looking at headlines to see what's happening around the world. Of course, the big thing that's happening, we are now that we're into November, which November 1st was the boogeyman date that they put out there in front of us. For one thing being a bad thing as far as like SNAP benefits coming to an end. Now, I say a bad thing. This is not a persuasion, though I'm not trying to persuade you into seeing it just as bad for any particular reason other than lives are impacted. Government programs be damned, lives are impacted in a lot of ways. And not just the people receiving the benefits, but also all of the retailers who rely on people buying their grocery items by way of the SNAP program. This is more than just, this is not just a little ripple, this is a big ripple. And we're going to see how that plays out. And of course, one of the things I want to point out is if you watch inside, because this is all about like learning how to ask questions and pay attention, because since the sides want to blame one another, and the media machine wants to push you in one direction or another, ask yourself what matters most. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, are they right? Are they wrong? Why do I believe what I believe? Think about that. So anyway, again, question everything, because if inside this box someone is telling you that one side is the one causing you all your heartache and grief, do you really believe that? Is that affecting you right here inside of your own bubble and circle? If so, okay, make your decision. Otherwise, see what your thought really is on the matter. Really dissect it. It could be very similar or the same, but make sure it's your own, because way too much we all get into the confirmation bias of things, because that's what these algorithms feed us, our own confirmation biases. So what else is going on here? Oh, another thing the air traffic control systems, apparently. Now that started to get, with the government shutdown, bottlenecking problems in the holiday travel season coming up. See, I'm not very up on exactly what's happening with that. I do know that I have an aunt who is going to do some traveling to another state, and there was an issue with that particular event wasn't going to happen. And so the things got a little wonky with her travel plans, and then she was thinking, well, she could get the refund on her plane tickets or go do somewhere else. And then she got to thinking about and this was last month, and thinking about, well, everything's kind of wonky with the FAA and air traffic control. You know what? I think I'll just stay home. And so she did. And yeah, there you go. A lot of things to consider. Now, let me ask you this. In this government shutdown, how has this impacted you? Is it impacting you yet? Me personally, with Alicia and Caitlin and I so far, not so much. Everything is just still kind of like, sun still came up, temperature still dropped, but that had nothing to do with government shutdown. It had everything to do with we're moving into late fall and sliding our way into winter. There you go. But speaking of that, another thing that is in the headlines that you may have not seen because they're talking about other things is the United Nations COP30 summit coming up soon. And this is another one of the things involving climate change and their climate change summit. Now, I don't know where you are on that, we'll say debate, because I personally, I ain't even going to talk about it, because I don't know. I'm not a climate scientist. I can't deny anything that I don't know, not just out of hand, but I do know. I've heard about it for a long time, and we were already supposed to be taken out by miscellaneous bad weather stuff. I think, what was it, Al Gore, who called 2012 as that'll be it. You'll be done. If you didn't, he was saying this back in the late 90s. So if we didn't do something about it, 2012, we were all going to be no longer on the planet. That didn't happen. Or did it? That's another conspiracy in and of itself. What's interesting about this, though, I guess, is with Elon Musk. I had seen, when I was checking in to see the status of Scott Adams this morning, but I saw that Elon Musk had tweeted out that when it comes to, okay, let's dive into the weeds. All right. So now, since the mid 90s, we started seeing the little streaks in the sky that were labeled as chemtrails. And of course, everyone who made comments about it was labeled a crazy conspiracy theorist. Well, maybe, maybe not. Oh, wait, now throughout there, they've drizzled out some truth about some of those things that you were saying, called geoengineering. So words matter. Of course, if you say chemtrail, you're crazy. If you say geoengineering, you care and you follow the science, and it's cool, and it's a Bill Gates thing. And Bill Gates is a person, not just as a boogeyman, right? Anyway, but that's real, and they've confirmed it all now at this point. So now, as far as the actual motivations, always up for debate, contention, conspiracy. But the reality is yes, it's happened. It's been happening for decades now. And this is where, when it came to Elon Musk's comment on that, or that I'll share with you, was that this one just kind of stepped out at me, because it's like you've got the bad boogeyman and the good soft selling boogeyman. And so, okay, with the Bill Gates side of the world and the climate change stuff, it was all about, if we don't do this and erase our carbon footprint and all that, well, we're all going to die. Okay, well, we haven't, and climate models seem to shift and change, and people are predicting 100 years into the future, which you really, So far, from what I've seen, that never really works. And it'd be kind of, from what I understand about, science in tracking things. I had a conversation with Brandon about this, as far as like when it comes to the weather and how far out you can truly predict. Now, with almanacs, you can get ballparks. They've done that because they've tracked trends. But how far out can you really track the trend? Don't know, as far as changes go. Hmm. Brandon, I mean, of course, with StormTrack 360, and we're going to try to get together later today. Anyway, but what Elon posted made me go, no, wait a minute, because now, okay, now Elon Musk has been now crowned as the champion of free speech when he bought Twitter, turned it into X, and gives people the opportunity to say more of what they want to say than they will on this platform here, which seems to be getting better. There we go. But we'll find out. I don't know. But anyway, Elon said something that really made me go, oh no, here we go. Here's the soft good guy thing. And that was that when it comes to climate change, that it would be easy enough to contend with tiny AI satellites. He's good at satellites, with Starlink and all that. And they can just make some tiny little changes to control how much solar energy reaches the Earth. Wait, what? Now that's something that's interesting because I hadn't seen anything from Musk that it really got too deep into the climate debate, but now he's talking about with AI, which he said be weary of, even though, X and all of that has developed XAI and Grok and all that. But it could take us out if it wasn't done right? But anyway, but that thing about tiny satellites powered by AI to control how much solar energy hits the Earth. Okay. I can see that a software program could simply track, monitor, that's the word I was looking for, as far as how much solar energy is coming in. Okay, fine. But now to then be able to deflect more solar rays and energy, well, you would have to have something to do that, right? If you like just a tiny adjustment, what are you adjusting? Is there like a cloud that will do that? That you can like sort of like the brightness on your screen. Oh, there's a little much. Let's turn that down. Oh, wait, a little more. We need turn that up. Huh. I'm gonna look into that a little bit more because for the longest time now, Musk has been. One thing I know when it comes to that debate is like Musk is swinging on Bill Gates when it comes to his position on the climate change thing, and like, and again, it's like I try to like keep up with things on like from like verifiable reports as far as things like where now that Musk is wanting to go more head to head with Office applications, going head to head with Microsoft, that he's building out macro hard, and I think it's supposed to be in Memphis or in the Tennessee area there for like a facility that will start working on building that competing product there. I don't know, but still, I found it very interesting that we just need tiny AI powered satellites that can tweak how much solar energy is coming on the Earth. But what's the mechanism for deflection? I don't know. I'm going to look into that. I think it's interesting. Brandon, if you're watching this morning, prep, because I want to talk to you about that. And you're a climate guy because you're a weather guy. And as a weather guy, and anyone who is in the Arkansas, or the north central Arkansas, south central Missouri area, Branson, Harrison, all this area, be sure if you're not following StormTrack 360, do it now because Brandon and his crew of volunteers do an amazing job keeping you up to date when the weather goes bad. It's not bad right now, so you might not think about it. That's why I'm going to talk about it every day because it is still important. So what else do we have here? That was interesting. Let's say, now, again, when it comes to the show, and my hope of breaking up nihilism is I do like to find things locally that people are doing, and thanks to the magic of Facebook, I do get notifications of events that are going on. What I saw for this evening is United Methodist Church. Look them up with what they're doing here in Harrison. They're doing a free movie night thing now on Monday. So tonight, I guess, is when that's kicking off. They're doing like classic movies at their theater there. Sounds neat. Sounds fun. And then Thursday, the band Earthbone, my pal Susan Boone and Jerry, they are going to be performing at the Hotel Seville. I believe that is Thursday night. at 8 o'clock. So once again, look out there and find that stuff, because again, connecting locally outside of the box is so very important. And it could get hard. I mean, there's a lot going on that keeps the cash tight, but if you can pull a couple pennies to the side to go out support local art, music, and just interactions, do it. It's good for you. It's healthy. Now, where we're going here, another thing that I really wanted to do with this podcast on the whole is, and as a business, okay, and I'm not trying to sell you anything right now. I just want to tell you where my perspective is coming from and my motivation in what AMP Multimedia is offering now into the future. And it's about creating evergreen content. And what I mean by that is like it sounds, evergreen content. If you know what I mean, you know. If you don't, what that means is create something that isn't dated, right? Make it more, generic's not the right word exactly, but create something that if someone watched today versus a year from now or 5 years from now, in regards to your advertising, marketing, and promotion stuff, um, make it to, or be mindful of making it where it would still fit. Okay. And that can be tough sometimes because you still, I mean, there are differences in things to do, but when it comes to the philosophy that I'm talking to folks about now, is that since the world is so just fragmented and it's hard to keep up and drawing audience is so difficult, what I would recommend is to, again, be top of mind in who you want to talk to. And one of those things is the people who are already doing business with you. Be good to them because they're good to you, and stay connected with them so they'll stay connected with you so you can continue to engage. Because we all have to work together in those relationships with business. Like, I love the fact that I saw that Aaron Anderson with Vigilant Inspection Services, you know what he's doing this year? Because he wanted to do it. He made a note last year that he wanted to be a part of it. The Christmas parade. The Christmas parade. So he's going to be out and about doing some things today to like wrap his truck so he can be in the Christmas parade. So that's great. And I want to catch up with Aaron more, and Julie, his wife, with our Twisted Life Photography, and then everyone else who plays along with the 72601.life guide, which needs to be refreshed. I do. But everybody who was there with me last year when I kicked that thing off, they're with me now, and they always will be. And I want to connect with them again, and that's what stuff like this is for. It allows me to be able to connect with them, to in turn share messages with you. Although advertising platforms per se, it's not really my thing anymore because I don't like the sponsorship stuff. That's a conversation for another day. But still, in creating the things that you put out when you're a business or an organization, hobbyist, to create things that are evergreen, and also targeting and speaking specifically to your fans. We could say base, we could say customers, we could say clients, but speaking directly to them in your efforts. This isn't always about reaching new clients, right? A lot of folks get caught up in that. It's all about whenever someone sells you an advertising package, well, we're going to get you some new business. Are you? Maybe, maybe not. Because a lot of those things don't work like they used to. But the folks who love you and come back, it goes back to the old school word of mouth, because that will always work. And if you continue your relationship with the folks that, have been happy with you and left a review somewhere, that's great, because those are your base. Talk to them. They're your friends. They really are. And they'll drown out all the trolls that'll pop up that seem, it's like magic, bad magic, dark magic, black magic. How the better you do, the more people want to say bad things about you. But when you're engaged with the people who love you, they're going to take up for you and take care of you. We've been there. And it's true. It is. So anyways, that's one of the big things I want to plant in your head is whenever you put together your stuffs, because you got to, if you're in business or anything that you need to grow audience with, you've got to remember that the people who got you there are the most important, period. And that's where you get to come up with cool ideas. And this is why this little fella here exists, this little purple cow, inspired by Seth Godin's book. I want to help you do that. Dive into what you know and what you do, and how can we freshen it up, make it interesting to talk about, and be remarkable. That's what I'm doing right now with a lot of things. And that's why, again, if you see me on the street and you happen to be the first, oh, gravity, I told you it was going to play a factor today. It just won't stop. But anyway, if you see the first person to see me on the street whenever we're out and about, I'm going to always have one of these in my pocket. Ask me for your purple cow. All the while, I'm on the hunt for purple cow things like the popcorn that still got to pop. Didn't get a chance to do it yesterday, but hopefully today, Alicia and Caitlin and I are going to try that one out because that is just a great representative of a purple cow because they made mundane microwave popcorn interesting again, and I like that type of stuff. So, what else do we have here? Oh, yesterday again, it was kind of just a hang around the house day. It was a nice day, and to do so I did. And then I was like constantly thinking and working on stuff, and in that process, I was like, dude, stop. You do that? You ever just like always on? I've been an always on guy for a long time, but I'm working on breaking that up some to where when I'm not in my as I don't like the term small business and do not recommend anyone ever use it. You're not small if you're in business because that's a lot, always. So when you're in business, and especially when you have your own business, um, it's 24/7. You are your own boss. You write your own paycheck because you have to go earn your money to get said paycheck. And as that said, you can stay on too much. And that's been me for a long time. Always on, always on. Yesterday, I made a mindful effort and attempt to not, to just shut down for a little bit. Just go. Alicia and Caitlin were out and about doing their thing, having some mama darter time. And that was awesome. And I was at home with the cats and the dogs. And that was cool. But I was still thinking too much about stuff as far as hemp multimedia is concerned. So I made myself just turn it off, and I started I've been binge watching. Whenever I do turn it off, I'll binge watch stuff on YouTube, like Gordon Ramsay. Got on a big Gordon Ramsay kick, which is another conversation I want to have because there's a lot to learn from that. But anyway, but I want to break away from that too, do something different. And so I went looking, and I found a couple videos that were neat, and they're more like uh, engineering technology stuff. Nothing boring though, because there's too much fun stuff. But a couple of them that I came across, and let's see. I'll share the link later, or you can look them up because you may not care anyway. But what was cool is I enjoyed watching them. I'll tell you what they are in a second. But along with enjoying watching them, I realized that in this process of just kind of unplugging for a little bit, it was helping me, myself, and I break free of some of the nihilism that grows on in my head. Because it's not the end of the world, regardless of what everyone's saying, what the government's doing, all this other stuff. It's not. There's so much more going on, but we get our tunnel vision on with what people think is happening, and this is it. This is the end all be all. Well, it's not. So do other things and you'll be amazed what you find. And what I found is a couple videos. One was really cool. It's a group of young engineers. I say young, they look to be like, early 20s-ish, but brilliant young minds. And what they've been working on was a working lightsaber. It doesn't actually cut through stuff, but it's like it retracts. It comes up, it comes down, it lights up, it has all the sounds, and all at the flick of a button. And it's amazing. I mean, it's really, really, really cool. So you know what? Let me go ahead and put that in the comments so you get a chance to check that out, because those kids worked hard for a long time in getting that together. So they deserve all the props they can get. Let me put this here in the, there we go. Okay, so that went there, I think. I hope. Another thing I want to note is like I'm seeing way after the fact comments on the stream. I mean, sometimes I see them in play because it's supposed to do that, but it's not necessarily doing that. Again, my pal Brandon has made a recommendation that may fix that, so we'll take a look at that. But I don't see them till like a day or two after the fact, which is weird, but that's another reason why I don't like this platform. But anyway, check that out when you get a chance, because those kids did something really impressive. And it also teaches and shows how much work goes into things. And this younger generation still appreciates that, no matter what kind of trash people talk about the millennials and Gen Y and all that. No, they're still doing stuff, man. But that's not what the box is telling you. Now, there was the other one. Where'd it go? And this one was kind of silly, I thought, but at the same time, interesting to me. Let me grab this link. Okay, now this fella, somewhere across the pond he is. Anyway, he was demoing and reviewing a little gadget that will probably be in a lot of places that you may see this year. It's like a little phonograph. There's the link. There's, it looks like a little Victrola record player, and it comes with these little 20, it's an advent calendar type thing, and it'll play music. We can put the little disc on there. Well, what we both learned as he and I, well, as he was doing the video and I was watching the video, along with Husker, Alicia's big boy, he's not a cat. We'll talk about that too one day. Are we all crazy now? Maybe. But it was cool because he was thinking there was like an RFID chip inside of the cardboard that would trigger the mechanism inside of the box. But no, come to find out what was actually firing it off was a circular UPC type code that once you put it on the little turntable and you turned it on and it went around and around and around. When you look underneath, you can see the bars on there, just like a UPC code that would do a full revelation. Revelation. Is that the right word? I don't know. But anyway, as it did its full turn, it would read that code, which would fire, or which would pick up a number that would fire off one of the MP3s inside of the box. Fascinating. I didn't know such technology existed, and now I want to play with it, so I probably will. Check out those links. They're fun. Break the nihilism and get inspired by things. Oh, the book for today. Win Bigly, 2nd edition, Scott Adams, available on Amazon right now. Again, I recommend this and all of Scott's books because, well, that's kind of funny. I'm going to read you a selection real quick because I think it's kind of ironic. Because again, as I am broadcasting, streaming live from the world's or the most racist city in America, it's not. But anyway, where are my cheaters at? A little foggy this morning. Where are they? Oh, there they are. Anyway, find it interesting. I just turned to this page here because again, the book Win Bigly is all about the art of persuasion and how he, in this book, he points out how Trump is masterful at persuasive speech. And love him or hate him, it is true. But now what was funny is the KKK slow denial. From February 2016, in a televised interview with CNN's Jake Tapper, Trump stumbled and hesitated on a question about disavowing the KKK and its former Grand Wizard David Duke. Both had recently endorsed his campaign. Now, Trump later claimed he had a defective earpiece and didn't hear the question clearly. Critics said his hesitation to disavow was a clear sign that he was a racist. Well, this event, more than any other, added fodder to the allegations that Trump is racist. For context, you should know that Trump had disavowed David Duke a number of times in the past, and the day after the Tapper interview, he clearly disavowed both Duke and the KKK. He left no wiggle room. And then he kind of breaks down a transcript, and you should read that because in that response and how he addressed it, which folks here, in my opinion, and I've always said it myself, here in Harrison, Arkansas, the most racist town in America, which it's not, can learn some lessons in that because you get pigeonholed in things that just aren't true. Now, going back to the book, Win Bigly, persuasion-wise, it was probably Trump's biggest error of the campaign. Because when he did that, when you see the interview live or read the transcript, it does make you wonder what the heck he was thinking. But the one thing that Scott says he feels comfortable saying is that he wasn't planning to embrace the KKK and its past leader while running for president of the United States. And that doesn't make sense in any world in which Trump is sane. And Scott and I think he's sane. Now, the way he goes about things may look nuts to you, but again, it's about how things work. Now, Trump's claim of a faulty earpiece probably sounds ridiculous to you, but again, and I can attest to this too, from when it comes to like having to use those little things when you're on camera and on TV, they're not great. They normally kind of suck, especially if you got two-way. Oh, it's terrible. Anyway, but that's an interesting take on all of that when you go through all of this. But it was a bad look, but Scott breaks down these things, not as an apologist for things, but for tactic that was used. Because in the end, in 2016, everything still came out in Trump's favor, despite those hiccups like that. And that one was a big one, but proved to be total nonsense, unless the narrative got a hold of it and they just kept going with it, which is just, it's the thing you and I have to watch out for in what we think we believe. There you go. Well, what I do believe is I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. It's Monday. Again, we got an hour back. Do something good with it. And what I can do to try to help you with that is, if you'll see in the description, there are links to the PDF versions of my 3 Keys to Content Creation workshop to help get you, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. You also got time to create your marketing campaigns and brainstorm some stuff out, as well as my 8-hour video workshop that, while it's an older PDF, all the lessons are still relevant because the foundations never change. Check out Win Bigly to study up on the art of persuasion. It can do you good. And then we're going to wrap this thing up. Come back tomorrow, do more stuff. Be on the lookout for my purple cow and the things that I see as a purple cow, because we're going to have some fun with it. Good day, everyone. Go do something fun.